Hold on one second. We about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dark Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we doing over here, baby. Let's go. Next, I'm going to talk to you guys about FEMA, and more importantly, the black passes that I told you guys it was going to come out that they had to be CIs. Either they were CIs or they were on the payroll. Now, unfortunately for the black community in America, this revelation hasn't come to full fruition where people understand it. It's going to be one of those things that has such a dramatic impact on the black community, but it has to come to light. You see, it would take something like mammon, which is money, to get people to sell out Jesus. I'm sorry. I mean, think about it. The gospel of Jesus Christ, there's nothing racist about the gospel of Jesus Christ. In fact, the gospel of Jesus Christ, if you're a Christian, then you know that your politics should be in line with the gospel. And you wonder why you have all these black pastors who it seems like their gospel is not in line with the Bible. It's because of the moolah, baby. And I mean, it's unfortunate, but here it is.
And in this nation, I'm worried that we are on the verge of bloodshed. This is an attempt to take us back to a day that we do not want to go, and we will not go. So therefore, there will be conflict. I pray that the peace of God will win out and overcome the madness that is attempting to take over this nation. And I will say to you, beloved, no one likes violence, but sometimes violence is necessary. When Elon Musk forces his way into the United States Treasury and threatens to steal your personal information and your Social Security check, there is the possibility of violence. Sometimes the devil will act so ugly that you have no other choice but to get violent and fight.
See what I'm saying?
Well, someone might say, now, Reverend, you shouldn't be.
I'm going to say it, Reverend. You know, and good and damn well, that what you're doing is standing in the pulpit and lying. And what makes it worse is, what truly makes it worse is when you just apply simple logic. What in Sam hell does the richest man in the world need your broke Social Security number for? What are you going to do with your Social Security number? You broke compared to him. The richest man in the world. But it's one of those things where the only thing that you can use against this is race at this point in time. And so imagine people on the phone with pastors saying, well, you know, we're going to need to get people up in arms about this and get people fighting. So you're working against the best interests of your own constituents, your own sheep and the pastor, because you're supposed to be a shepherd. Their money is being sent all over the place to fund things that directly curse them, this nation, in the sight of God himself. And you're going to hone in on this little bitty, you're going to zoom your microscope in on this little bitty thing that you believe or you've been told to hone in on to provoke a reaction. This is why when Elon starts going to the Treasury and all these different places, they're going to find how much money has been flowing to 501c3s. When he goes into FEMA, how much money has been flowing to 501c3s, which is the organizations that they have set up. So I'm just telling you guys, prepare for what's coming down the pipeline. Prepare for the greatest exposure you've ever seen of how pulpits have been weaponized. And it ain't going to just be black pulpits. It's going to be every pulpit's going to be weaponized, because the Bible said judgment starts in the church. Yeah. So judgment it's finna be dished out because the money is being exposed. And here's the craziest thing about the pastor. Pastor, what's his dude's name? Sunday, Steve Claude. Pastor Steve Claude. Here's the craziest thing. Steve Claude done ran out there and put himself on the front line, not knowing that, Steve, you gonna get spanked. I know these men not dumb. You understand what I'm saying? They're not uneducated men. They're not silly men. There's nothing dumb about these gentlemen.
Be talking about violence. This isn't the Christian thing to do. Well, I will say, why not talk this way? Because Jesus did. Jesus said in this key verse, didn't he? The kingdom of heaven suffers what? Violence. And the who? The violent take it by force. The kingdom of God is a war zone. It is a battlefield. You did know this, right?
Wow. And he's right. The kingdom of God suffers violence, and the violence take it by force. He's right about the kingdom of God suffers violence. The problem is you are the one that's bringing violence against the kingdom. Yeah, you're the one that bring violence against the kingdom with lies. Man, that's such a dangerous game to be playing, man. I mean, that's a dangerous game to be playing. And then when you consider the fact that now, at some point in time, the money that's came out that went to these churches in order to incite this behavior pattern, really, which it went into the church organizations, the bigger organizations with the group of pastors. And then the money would be funneled down to each pastor that was, oh, this is my boy, we got this amount of money from the federal government. We're going to give him this. We're going to give him this. We're going to give him this. Once you understand, man, what it is, it's terrifying. I won't go on to the next thing. Now, we know that FEMA has, that FEMA left a lot of people out in the cold, man. But this is what's coming out right now from Elon. The Doge team just discovered that FEMA sent $59 million last week to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal migrants. Sending this money violated the law. It is a gross insubordination to the president's executive order. That money is meant for American disaster relief instead of being spent on high-end hotels for illegals. A clawback demand will be made today to recoup these funds. I don't have much time because I need to make a phone call. But understand, there are certain hotels that have been subsidized by the federal government. What happens when subsidies get cut off to business organizations? They go out of business. So what you're talking about is the government subsidizing these hotels up to the tune of $59 million. I don't know if that's a month. I don't know what it is, but $59 million. Let's see what Jean-Pierre was saying.
Being diverted from response needs. So, disaster relief, this is a falsehood. Disaster relief funds used on immigrants illegally in the U.S. The fact is, no money is being diverted from response needs. That's the fact.
So basically they're saying Jean-Pierre was lying, which, I mean, it didn't, I mean, anybody with common sense knew she was lying. She had a binder full of lies. She opened her binder full of lies. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Never seen it. And meanwhile, this is what North Carolina looks like. Wow. A full-on disaster zone. Terrible, man. And I feel for the people there. I feel for the people in California. I mean, we're in such a time of change that every system is breaking and being broken, and it has to be. It has to be. There's no way around it. These things have to be exposed in order for the truth to come out, in order for the money, literally for the money to stop being abused and swindled. It's all got to come out, and we got to face hard truth. And I don't know if everybody in America is ready for these hard truths that are going to come out. I can tell you I am. That it's going to be some truths that nobody want to accept. But, I mean, it's got to be what it's going to be. You understand what I'm saying? It's got to be that. The next hard truth we got to discuss is Radskin and them suing Elon Musk and Donald Trump, saying that it is a breach of America's data. Now, remember when the Treasury Department was hacked by the Chinese Communist government, and every terminal was hacked by the Chinese Communist government, the Democratic Party was silent. They were silent on it. And so now that they're being exposed and their spending or their grifting is being exposed, now they want to go to court. And I'm going to tell you, in my opinion,
what I'm
man,
thinking,
these people need to go to prison, because this nobody elected Elon Musk thing is ridiculous. For example, nobody elected Bill Gates, but he ran around the whole world and telling everybody what they should and shouldn't do. Nobody elected the World Economic Forum. Nobody elected Klaus Schwab. The difference is Elon Musk was appointed a position by the executive branch. And so what we have right now is we have the judicial branch, which are federal judges, trying to dictate how the executive branch does business. It's the equivalent of the judicial branch telling the military how to fight war. Everybody know they can't do that. But in this media environment, this is what they're attempting to do. It's unconstitutional and it's dangerous, and it should be dealt with swiftly.
what I'm thinking about and talking to my friends at Democracy Defenders and other lawyers about is, could there be a nationwide class action lawsuit to follow up on last week's victories against Musk, against the Trump administration for this breach in computer security and the data of all American taxpayers? It could be a class action suit on behalf of all Americans. If the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers want to opt out and they don't want their part of the money for the contamination of their data, fine, they can opt out. But really, it's a suit on behalf of everybody, because that's our information.
Right.
It doesn't belong to Elon Musk or his little midnight crew. It belongs to the people, and the government has to hold it in trust. Now, there's specifics.
So essentially what they're saying is you can't audit the Treasury Department because it's a violation of the data of the American people. Forget about the violation of all the money that we've seen spent frivolously. I mean, forget about the fact that it's $52 million just today was sent to hotels in New York for migrant housing. Forget about that. No. And see what they're going to do is they're going to try and muster all of their uninformed or ill-informed constituents to come together to help them defend this. And it's not going to work. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to work. And it's a sad thing, because at the end of the day, it's like you're supporting criminality. If you come in agreement with this, you're supporting the destruction of your own country. And these people have lost their minds, guys.
Statutes which say that information can only be accessed for tax purposes. Look
at him. You can tell he's lying. So the Treasury information is only supposed to be accessed for tax purposes. Guys, wait till they get to the point to where they go to audit the Federal Reserve Bank. Wait till they get to the point to where and I'm just going to keep it real with you. See, if I was Donald Trump, I would call the Supreme Court, and I would call what's your boy's name? Clarence Thomas. I say, Clarence, now you know what these people are doing is illegal, and either you guys are going to have to deal with this swiftly, or I'm going to deal with it swiftly, because it's causing a constitutional crisis. You're telling the executive branch that they cannot audit the government. There's no way it's legal. And for them to even think that they get tied up in court is ridiculous. So Obama judges, because these were Obama judges that were appointed, Obama judges have decided they're going to dictate how the nation runs. And then if I'm not mistaken, they came out and said that Doge had to destroy the data that they got. I wouldn't destroy a damn thing. I wouldn't destroy nothing. I want to see you come arrest me.
Purposes of the Internal Revenue System, and for no other purposes. What are they using that information for?
And look at him. He's sitting there saying, I wonder if this is going to work. Yeah, I see the angle you're taking. It's the dumbest thing on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. And the craziest thing is these people have been rebuked by the American people. Right now they have statistics coming out saying that Donald Trump has a 53% approval rating. Man, that man's approval rating is way higher than 53%. We know it because of what we saw last night in the Super Bowl. We know it. See, the media come out and give you these numbers, but if you're a common sense individual and you saw what happened during the Super Bowl, give me 1 second. Super Bowl. Trump. You see the cultural shift that's happened. Here it is. This is Taylor Swift getting booed last night. And somebody will say, GW, it's not about Taylor Swift. No. There's a cultural shift in America that you have to be aware of. And the culture shift is much bigger than anything else you could ever understand. You hear that roaring boo? What does it mean? I mean, when you think about it, what does it mean? What does it mean that there was this massive roaring, booing sound? What it means is that culturally, we shifted away from celebrity. Culturally, we moved away from idols, individuals that are supposed to be so important that they shift politics and they shift and they have a control of the hearts of the American people. No, we're not in that place no more. We're not in that place anymore. And unfortunately, there's some people who are lagging behind in understanding. They haven't got the dang on memo yet. No, bruh. America is not in league with you anymore. It's not in line with you anymore. It's just, it is what it is. But these are signs of it. Again, here's the booing. You got a brother look at. You see Taylor right there looking at the camera like, what the hell? Now watch this brother next to her. He gonna look like, damn. Look at her like, damn, girl, they booing you. And so, overall, the American people have awakened. And the only thing that the globalists have at this point in time is this stay behind network that's being dismantled and destroyed. It's a dangerous stay behind network, but it's being dismantled and destroyed. Now watch this. The Shapiro thing out of Pennsylvania is so wild. Remember, Shapiro was supposed to be Kamala's, he was supposed to be one of Kamala's running mates, right? And she ended up choosing to have the fruity dude that was running around doing like this. This was supposed to be, Josh Shapiro was supposed to be one of her running mates. But it makes sense why now she didn't pick Josh Shapiro, because she figured, man, if I get Josh Shapiro in office and he about this action like this, man, I might not be president for long at all. Here it is. Federal whistleblower filed a criminal complaint on February 7, 2025, alleging Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro involved in an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. It also alleges that Christopher Wray conspired with Biden administration to hide the report. The Butler DA's office is currently investigating these allegations. No arrest or official charges against Shapiro have been confirmed by official sources. So let's look at the document. Richard Goldinger, Butler County. I am in receipt of your private complaint which you filed against Governor Josh Shapiro for his alleged involvement in attempted homicide of President Donald Trump on July 13, 2024. Now, this ain't in the news. This ain't going to be in the news. I'm sorry. It just ain't going to be in the news. We have to force this into the news. Please advise that there are multiple investigations currently being conducted by various governmental agencies. Due to those pending investigations, I'm disapproving your private criminal complaint. I'm disapproving your private criminal complaint. So it was August 2024 that this complaint was made. Pennsylvania arrest warrants. It's hard to believe that there may be a bigger. Okay, that's there. It's hard to believe that. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. It's hard to believe that there may be a bigger story than the final score of the Super Bowl. President Donald Trump learned today as a federal whistleblower and a former state police employee has come forward with information and filed a criminal complaint on this week on February 7, 2025, allegedly linking Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro with the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. Allegations from the private criminal complaint in the weeks leading up to the Trump rally, President Joe Biden made frequent visits to defendant Joshua Shapiro to discuss the obstacles faced by the Democratic Party. Josh Shapiro organized, schemed, and conspired with other officials to carry out an attempted assassination against former President Donald Trump. Governor Josh Shapiro facilitated, planned, and coordinated an attempted assassination to climb the political ladder. On July 13, 2024, this affidavit contacted the Secret Service to provide a tip which was blocked by the Biden administration. So Biden has a lot of problems on his hands. Okay. Is this a continuation of it? On July 15, 2024 through July 23, 2024, this affiliate communicated with Secret Service agent John Donahue and provided numerous documentation related to the crimes committed by Joshua Shapiro and the Philadelphia FBI's involvement in covering up the crimes defendant Joshua Shapiro. Agent John Donahue sent the complaint to headquarters, but Biden administration blocked it. On March 9, 2024, Supervisory Special Agent Kenneth Miller advised this through email that he contacted the FBI Philadelphia personnel, FBI Victim Services, and management at Washington, D.C. field office, and that they advised him to direct the complaint to the Philadelphia FBI. Agent Kenneth Keller informed this person that the crimes being reported are not occurring in his jurisdiction and that he has no jurisdiction to assist Pennsylvania victims. He advised to contact the Department of Justice. Then the person contacted the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and up until recently, the ex-FBI Director Christopher Wray was conspiring with the Biden administration and concealing reports. Now that he has resigned, the private criminal complaint must be investigated. Man, this stuff is so wild, bro. This is so wild. So you got governors conspiring to kill Donald Trump all at the same time. Wow. And this is a good thing, guys, that this is coming out, because it makes it to a point where people know that he has a handle on things, so where they won't be trying this. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great thing that it's coming out. But when you look at it in the context of all the wild stuff going on, and I should be stopping this video and hitting every little trending topic and trying to get all the views I can get, but it don't matter. We just gonna cover the topics of the day. We're gonna hit them and we're gonna be done with it. And I'm gonna move on to do my next thing, because YouTube is gonna do what YouTube does, and I need to move on to work on posting on other platforms. That's a decision I've came to. Now, I'm getting ready to start posting to my own website, iamdarkwaters.com again. So it's a membership website, $12 a month. Stories are getting ready to start coming back out again, and I'm gonna bring more related news over there for you guys. So iamdarkwaters.com. You can sign up today. But watch this. We have so much information coming out at one point in time that is, quite frankly, is overwhelming, but it has to come out. And if it doesn't come out, we find ourselves in a situation where they can continuously, repeatedly try and do these things. So now we know that there's literally another insurrection going. There's an insurrection against the president of the United States right now. There was an assassination attempt. Now it's being followed up by an insurrection, and something's going to have to be done. I mean, especially from legal lawfare perspective. Remember, the Democrats opened the door for lawfare. And this is the crazy thing about them. They play cry bully, but they opened the door to lawfare. They performed and did lawfare unlike anything we've ever seen. And it's going to have to be returned on their heads. Every last one of them. So it's a sad thing to say, but I'm sorry, it's going to be returned on their heads. Exclusive USAID whistleblower exposes the truth. What's going on over here? Let me listen to what's going on. Give me a second.
And you're unnecessary, or they weren't aligning with President Trump's agenda there. Then they started uncovering waste and fraud. DOJ officials claimed they found evidence of gross mismanagement, wasteful expenditures, including very controversial grants and programs viewed as ideologically driven. Then they took it to the next level, where DOJ personnel reportedly gained access, some would say unauthorized access or improper access, to sensitive systems both at the USAID and the Treasury Department, where they were trying to unearth these irregularities and expose these misallocated funds. Then they started shutting down operations. Everything was moved under the onus of Marco Rubio at state. DOJ declared that USAID was beyond repair and announced steps to effectively shut down the agency by locking staff out of headquarters. They canceled ongoing operations. And then they started doing really data-driven cost-cutting initiatives where they employed advanced digital tools and AI to scrutinize all the federal spending that was happening in there. And then they fired, I believe, a bunch of staff, almost 90% of the staff, but now it is in the courts. The USAID firings were stopped by several judges, one for employment and one for the data issue, and that is kind of where we come up to now. As you may have seen, and this was the incredible moment, because I worked in D.C., I know politics pretty well, and when I saw on the same day that they had disbanded the USAID, that there was someone getting up on a ladder and physically removing the signage off the building, I said to myself, someone has a fire underneath this. So it's going to be really interesting. That sort of requisition where you ask someone in the DC area to change something on the facade of a building would take you months and everything. But we have some special guests for you today. I want Sarah to help introduce some of our actual whistleblowers, people who have come forward and really done some things. So it sounds like maybe I'm getting a little feedback online because I'm in a really echoey room. So I'm going to try to get a little closer to my mic there. Is that what you're hearing, Sarah?
There you go. Yeah, you're perfectly fine right now. I do want to introduce, we have Catherine O'Neill Gillihan. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly, Catherine. Catherine, I want to start with you, as you are a former State Department and USAID official for Trump. I want you to start our audience off with your perspective, how you think that the disbandment of this program will work, and if you think it's a great idea. Go ahead, please, ma'am.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Yes, as you mentioned, I was a political appointee. I joined the Trump campaign as a 22-year-old in 2016. Everyone thought I was crazy. I was on the transition team, actually responsible for reviewing the congressional budget justifications for the foreign affairs budget and kind of finding the line items that were inconsistent with Trump's campaign promises and making sure that we were to enact those policies and those programs day one of the administration. As many of you know, a lot of those efforts were thwarted from the beginning as soon as Trump took office. He was not familiar with the people that were, sorry, my 2-year-old is yelling at me. He was not familiar with who to trust in the beginning. And so there were a lot of people that got into the administration. I mean, John Bolton, Mike Pompeo, those are kind of the more well-known names, but there were a lot of, I would say, mid-tier staffers that I worked with that were just not interested in implementing those policies. So a lot of these things were thwarted from the beginning. which was very unfortunate. However, there were a lot of us in there. You know, I was kind of at the bottom of the food chain, but there were a lot of us in there.
I'm interested in seeing what Don Bongino has to say about what's going on.
To the important stuff. I've seen the story about Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and allegations he may have been involved in the Butler assassination plot against President Trump. If there was ever an opportunity to invoke the Bongino rule, ever, I am begging you to invoke it now. Folks, this appears to me, from having been a law enforcement officer myself, to be just a standard criminal complaint anyone can make. Meaning, we don't know if it's true or not. All we're saying is somebody said something. I'm just asking you to hold on this. They are some explosive allegations, but without hardcore evidence to back it up. Big allegations require big evidence. I'm always under the assumption that you're being played, we're being played, until people prove to me otherwise. That's why I invoked the Bongino rule. They want you to run with some of this stuff, just like these deep state accounts that promote these liberal talking points, because they want to use it later to discredit you. Like, look at these suckers, they fell for that. So nobody knows yet. Everybody hold. My sources have no indication yet that that's just, when I get something from sources, I'll let you know. We'll just leave it there, okay? You get what I'm saying? I've seen it. The Bongino rule always serves you well. Big charges and allegations require big evidence. But getting to the...
Go ahead, Dan Bongino. I'm going to run with it. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to run with it. I'm going to run with it because at the end of the day, somebody need to be held accountable for what the hell happened, and we don't have an answer at all as to what happened. Have you heard in justification on an answer for what happened? What about the guy at the golf course? Were anything about the guy at the golf course? Anything? I don't care if it come out and be discredited later. I can always apologize. I'll be like, hey guys, I was wrong, but this needs to be looked into. Point blank, period. And it needs to be looked into based upon the historical evidence we have. You don't let this slide. I understand what Dan Bongino is saying. He's saying they're trying to play us. I mean, at the end of the day, it ain't going to work. So no. I say that the whole situation need to be investigated, and Donald Trump need to look into it. More than anything, it shows you, it gives justification as to why the FBI under its current state needs to be completely dismantled. He needs to go from the rooter to the tutor through the FBI. So the way I see it, you don't lose in the situation. There's no losing in this, because let's say it's the deep state plant of a story and it's a fake story. What they're going to say, well, Donald Trump fired the people in the FBI based on a fake story? No, he was firing them already. He was giving them opportunity to get a severance already. So yeah, it don't matter to me. Now, for a person like Dan, it makes sense, because, see, Dan is massive. So Dan could be alleged that he got something wrong. They could bring a lawsuit against Dan and all the rest of this. No. I say we run with it. I say we run with it and get it over with. Let's see what's going on over here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hadassah Feinberg. I've posted a couple videos to YouTube. First off, I just wanted to thank everyone for the support.
Oh my goodness, I keep pressing the wrong thing.
Hi everyone, my name is Hadassah Feinberg. I've posted a couple videos to YouTube. First off, I just wanted to thank everyone for the support that we're receiving and other victims are receiving. But I did want to hop on here and clarify a couple things that people have left in comments, and, you know, just a lot of misinformation going around. So I did file a private criminal complaint to the Butler County, Pennsylvania District Attorney's Office, implicating Governor Josh Shapiro for the attempted assassination against former President Donald J. Trump on July 13th of 2024, and for the murder of Corey Comparator. Yes, Governor Josh Shapiro is fully liable. He has control and supervision over the state police, and has connections with the FBI, and has just rained terror in Pennsylvania. A little about me. I was a resident of Pennsylvania for 25 years. My family's been there for years. I still have family there. And I was working as a licensed foster and adoptive parent. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I was teaching in the schools. I'm a mother. I have 4 young children that I'm raising. And, you know, I came out after I had saved 4 children that were left soiled in feces and unclothed. And I basically spoke up against the county for them failing that family. And after that point, they terrorized my family. They came after my family. We had to flee for safety.
Wait, hold on, Shorty. I thought you the one that. Which complaint did she file? Because hold on, let me listen to this.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hadassah Feinberg. I've posted a couple videos to YouTube. First off, I just wanted to thank everyone for the support that we're receiving and other victims are receiving. But I did want to hop on here and clarify a couple things that people have left in comments and, you know, just a lot of misinformation going around. So I did file a private criminal complaint to the Butler County, Pennsylvania District Attorney's Office, implicating Governor Josh Shapiro for the attempted assassination against former President Donald J. Trump on July.
Okay, so she's the one that she filed a complaint, and then she goes into talking a little bit about herself, and she lays out a grievance that she has against the state and how they harass their family. Okay, I just want to make sure we all on the same page.
Definitely in the state of Pennsylvania, they're not doing. They, you know, they're trying to silence victims, Governor, by, you know, aiding him in promoting his political agenda. Ellen Greenberg's death.
Oh, okay, so yeah, if this is the person who filed a complaint, guys, we got a problem. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna listen to a little bit more, but
Committed to try to suppress, you know, the exposure of their crimes by Governor Josh Shapiro and the officials underneath him. And, you know, I'm not a political party. I'm not here to promote, you know, a political position. I'm not here to promote one.
That's going to end bad. That's going to end bad. That's going to end real bad. Let me see this. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Petitions. January 7th. Applications for extension of time to file brief. Petition by order. Court granted Commonwealth parties application to respond to petitions. This seems like a person who got a personal grievance, but may not have no evidence. That's what it seems like to me. A person who has a personal grievance, but he might not be able to. Let me see. Is this Richard Goldberg? Where's the complaint? No. There's no. Let's see. Private Joshua Shapiro. Here's a complaint. So she sent the affidavit. Oh yeah. This probably a whole bunch of BS. Watch this. I, Hadassah Feinberg, federal whistleblower, hereby allege that defendant Joshua Shapiro in his personal and individual official capacity facilitated, organized, and carried out his plan to assassinate Donald J. Trump. Let's skip down. Defendant Christopher Paris made false and inconsistent statements under oath to the Senate Judiciary Committee around Okay. Let's think about this for a second, guys. let's think about this from 100,000 foot view. And I could be wrong, but let's just think it from 100,000 foot view. There's been no motion on this at all, right? On the assassination attempt at all. I don't remember hearing anything about the assassination attempt. The last thing I heard was that the guy who was a part of it got rocked on top of the building and it just went away. It doesn't necessarily, the allegation doesn't necessarily have to be true in order for there to be an investigation. The allegation, the allegation itself opens the can of worms. And there's something strange about this woman to me. This is just me, guys. Let me go back to her face. Where did she go?
To the American people.
All right. There's something strange about this woman to me. And what I was going to say, the thing that, you ever seen like a real, no, you guys probably never ran into. Real agents, whether it be FBI, DEA, they don't tend to look like what you see on TV. They tend to be like, they look like this. Like real disinformation agents. Like people be like, oh, this guy's a disinformation agent. This guy's a shield. They don't look like what you perceive them to look like. They look like you just overlook them. You know what I'm saying? What's dawning on me right now is the whistleblower that you see here actually works for somebody. Now they got stuff on the side of the screen. I'm not even gonna, you can't see the stuff on the side of the screen, but there's stuff on the side of the screen saying that she was a part of the conspiracy.
To the American people.
But I'm not going with none of that. All I'm telling you is what dawns on me is that the best way to explain it is Steve Pachinik. He's the perfect example of what I mean. Watch this. Steve Pachinik. He's the perfect example if I could get his actual name. I want you to see Steve Pachinik talking. This is him. They got to have something with Steve on here. And it's funny because Steve went quiet. And Steve is the real deal. That's the one guy that I would watch and listen to. All right, so Steve Pachinik, this man right here, has overthrown governments all over the world. Steve Pachinik is a OG, triple OG, OG, right? But when you look at Steve Pachinik, if you was to sit in a restaurant with Steve, you wouldn't think Steve is what he is. Look at Steve. You wouldn't think Steve is what. Look at.
This is Dr. Pachinik. I want to talk about the Epstein.
Don't say that, Steve. You're gonna get my channel in trouble. Let's get.
Contrary to what everybody else said, Trump knew this was happening. Eric knew this was happening and warned the public. I knew this was happening. However, I could not say anything.
See what I'm saying? Like Steve don't look the part. And that's the point I'm trying to make to you. So when Dan Bongino comes out and says we need to hold, I get where he's coming from. But now looking at her, she looks the part to me of somebody that's like in the deep state. Yeah, she looks the part. Now, I'm doing this live. I'm not going to edit my going from where I was to the conclusion I came to. So what I'm going to say is this. In my opinion, she looked like she's playing a part. I don't know if she flipped because she's afraid. I don't know if she was involved. I don't know if she was working with somebody and she got I don't know. But all I know is this. At the end of the day, it's not necessarily a bad thing that the complaint came out. It's not necessarily a bad thing that's being pushed into the collective consciousness of the American people. It's just that we don't know what role she plays. But what I do know is this. Somebody tried to whack my man Don. And if this is going to be the what opens the door to figure out what the truth is, I'm comfortable with the door opening to find out what happened. Now, her, per se, to me, she's actually the distraction. How people are... Dan Bongino was talking about how they want to embarrass you. It only works if you fall for the trap. The issue is somebody tried to assassinate Donald Trump. Somebody tried to assassinate him. That's the issue that should be addressed. Now, the source of the information, the source of the complaint, quite frankly, don't matter to me. If the complaint is raised to the surface to where it gets attention, and then the Trump campaign digs into it, now at this point in time, I'm pretty sure he knows something. But if it causes him to dig in and find the truth, and it causes us to find the truth, then great. Great. The issue is how we get to the truth. And honestly, you and me ain't gonna get to the truth from no public Facebook post. Not on nothing like that. Or no Twitter post. You ain't gonna get to the truth from that. I mean, let's just keep it real. That's inside baseball. But for all we know, there may be connections. But Steve Pieczenik is a perfect example of what I mean by individuals that just don't look the part. I mean, you look at Steve, man. Steve looked like the dude that be sitting on the beach, smoking a little cigar, hanging out with his wife, and you think you can knock Steve across the head and take his wallet.
Think about it. What happened was we watermarked every ballot with what's called the QFS blockchain encryption code. In other words, we know pretty well where every ballot is, where it went, and who has it. So this is not a stolen election. On the contrary, we reversed the entire game of war along the lines of Sun Tzu, the art of war. And Trump was brilliant and still is brilliant at it. The reason he hasn't been seen, and Alex correctly said, I haven't seen him in several days. Well, in the art of the war, you pull back, allow your enemy to make all the mistakes that they are making. This is really a sting.
So the point I'm making is when you deal with, unfortunately, when we think about special agents and we think about the FBI and the CIA, and we have this image of this young, in shape spy who's running like James Bond, that's jumping on top of buildings and sliding down cranes and shooting guns. Pew, 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 pew. But the reality is they look like Steve Pieczenik. That's the reality. They look like Steve. Yeah, they look like Steve. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the reality of it. Now I want to go to the next couple of news stories. Let's hit the Breitbart, because there was a bunch of things on the Breitbart that we need to take a look at. On the Breitbart news. Now the Dems said they're going to shut down the government in order to shut down Doge from going through all the records. I think it's real interesting that they're so afraid of something that they won't shut down the entire government. I mean, the entire government. What are you afraid of, homie, that you won't shut down the entire government? I mean, what's scaring you like this? What have you done?
Courts have stepped in and paused a lot of Musk's actions over questions on legality.
I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars.
All right, with us now is Congresswoman Val Hoyle, a Democrat from Oregon, who was a member of the bipartisan Doge Caucus, a group of bipartisan representatives trying to support at least the spirit of the efforts from Elon Musk, the so-called Doge Caucus. But now, Congresswoman, you have left that group. What pushed you over the edge? Why?
Well, I think that there's two different missions. Certainly the bipartisan group, most of my colleagues, I would say, truly want to find efficiency in government, right? We have three different branches of government, and as the legislative branch, we came here to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars, to make good policy, and again, work in good faith to find efficiencies.
Good stewards of taxpayer dollars don't send $52 million from the U.S. government to New York to prop up hotels for illegals. Good stewards don't buy condoms in Gaza
whether that's investing in IT or, combining agencies.
What she was a plant inside of there to get inside information on what was going on, and there clearly was some kind of falling out, and so now she's moved out to start talking about it. That's what she's saying. I'm sorry, guys. That's the truth.
Or departments, making sure we don't have too much bureaucracy, but fundamentally, you can't do that while government is being blown up from the inside. And let's be clear, Donald Trump and Elon Musk have a different mission. They say it's about efficiency and saving taxpayer dollars. It isn't. It's about intimidating workers, breaking our government, and installing loyalists that are loyal to Donald Trump and Elon Musk and not to the American people or the Constitution.
You mean like the stay-behind networks that were installed by Barack Obama? Or the stay-behind networks that were installed by Joe Biden?
So some courts have stepped in and paused or blocked some of the efforts by Musk here. Over the weekend, Elon Musk retweeted this comment about judicial activity. It reads, quote, "I don't like the precedent it sets when you defy judicial rulings, but I'm just wondering what other options are these judges leaving us if they're going to blatantly disregard the Constitution for their own partisan political goals." It seems to raise the possibility of ignoring legal rulings. What do you think?
A retweet by that man is not what he said, but it's okay. They framed it.
Think about that.
Well, and J.D. Vance, I think it was this weekend, also said, how dare the courts tell our attorney general what she can and can't do? That's unconstitutional. They're throwing these words around. They're using the cover of, again, efficiencies and the Constitution when they are blatantly disregarding it.
The way you guys threw around the cover of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and those words around to push forward an agenda to let the weirdos in classrooms.
We have a separation of the branches of government so that we have checks and balances. And
But this is the executive branch we're talking about, and the judicial branch does not have a right to interfere with the executive branch because the executive branch is the most powerful branch of government. But okay.
Really concerning, and every American, regardless of party, should be concerned with is that this unelected billionaire, Donald Trump, and his administration have made it clear that they don't intend to follow the rulings of the court if the court doesn't go along with what they say.
Wow. These people are crazy, dog. You people are crazy.
That's concerning. And as a member...
I can't watch no more of them, guys. I can't watch no more of them. They get on my nerves. I want to move on to the Super Bowl. I think the Super Bowl is something we should talk about, but I'm going to show you on X. I want to show you something that happened on the Super Bowl that, by the way, if you haven't followed me on Twitter, this is the handle. You'll see there's no banner there. It is Dark Waters 808. It'll say Christian, husband, father, business owner. But watch this. And I know we touched on the Super Bowl, but I didn't touch on the rap at the Super Bowl, which I really want to hit on. Look at Trombone Shorty. And my partner there. Let's go halftime show. Now, the good thing about this was it wasn't a demon-filled halftime show, and at least people had clothing on for the halftime show. But what I didn't like about this, and what I thought was very interesting, was Kendrick Lamar. People didn't know who the hell Kendrick Lamar was. And it just shows that. And he did a song about Drake, and he dissed Lil Wayne and all the rest of this, but the people didn't know who Kendrick Lamar was. Because there's such a cultural gap that they had no clue who he was. And I can show you evidence of this by going to Google Trends, and you'll see where people were Googling the lyrics. And I saw that early this morning. It was like, what are the lyrics to the song that this guy was singing? I was like, damn, nobody even know your lyrics. Let's go page 2. And those of you who follow me, you know I use Google Trends to find topics, but I also use it for insight into what's going on in the world. That's something else I want to talk about, this Starlink stuff. That's about to be a dog right there. Let me go back. Come on, man. And here's the graph to prove it to you. Just so you'll know. Between this weekend, here's the height of the graph. People didn't know what the hell he was saying. What's today's date? Today is the 10th. From the 9th to the 10th, like, people didn't know who or what Kendrick Lamar was saying. What are the lyrics to Not Like Us? And this goes to show you that nobody knew who Kendrick Lamar was. They knew who he was, but they didn't know what the song was about. And what it's indicative of is there's such a cultural gap between what's being presented to us, like this, and what's reality. It's a huge cultural gap between the two. You gotta understand, the people who pay this money for these Super Bowl tickets, bruh, this ain't the people who got like regular season tickets. You know what I'm saying? These corporations and big, I mean, this costs a lot of money to go to the Super Bowl. A whole lot of money to go to the Super Bowl. And so people are calling the Super Bowl halftime trash, but it's not necessarily that the music was trash, which I will agree, because it's mumble rap. But at the same time, people don't know what the hell it is. I mean, they don't know. And this is the guy that is responsible for sending it to you right here. Here's your sponsor of the foolishness at the Super Bowl. His name is Jay-Z. He's the one who sponsored it for you, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you know, Jigga. Jigga's the one who sponsored it for you. You know what I'm saying? Jigga's the one who sponsored it for you. And so the one thing I was excited about was there wasn't like this hardcore cult, nasty, butt naked stuff. But at the same time, it was showing a culture that America had not and should not embrace. Unfortunately, that's what it is. I mean, it's wild out here in these streets. Another thing that came out of it, though, was T-Mobile's Starlink. That's why I told you I'm just gonna keep on going. There's so much stuff that came out of this weekend that I might as well just keep hitting it. So here's a commercial.
There are over 500,000 square miles of the U.S. unreachable by any cell phone tower. Places where emergency texts never send, where emotional messages are not received, and countless memories are left unshared.
Doing good. You're doing good.
But T-Mobile is about to change that. T-Mobile partnered with Starlink to launch hundreds of satellites, creating the only space-based network that automatically connects to the phone you already have. And because connection means everything, we're inviting anyone on any wireless carrier to experience it for free.
You won't believe where I am right now.
T-Mobile Starlink. If you can see the sky, you're connected.
Now watch this. This is a fantastic thing, but it's a scary thing at the same time too. Because what happens is the degenerate culture that people can access from these devices will fly around the world at such a breakneck pace now that it's unstoppable. I'll say this though, for those people who are interested in strange and weird and freaky things in the woods, had I still been in your field, it is one of the greatest things for finding evidence there is. But I'm not in your field anymore, and most of you guys don't know what to do to institute this, but nonetheless, you're going to start seeing video footage coming from places of things that people have never seen before. I mean, if it started now, give it till July, August, September, October. Give it till by October, you're going to start seeing some freaky video footage come out from all over the world and places that you could not get access to. There are places that I know that there are crazy, weird things that you could put a camera in there that would stream 24 hours. The technology is there to stream, but the connection to maintain the stream is not there. There's no cell phone tower anywhere in that area. So there's no way of getting the data connection to do it. This solves that problem because all it's going to do is run on a damn SIM card. So now you have a SIM card that you can take and put into a device and record anywhere. So imagine what's going to happen when that family goes camping in the woods now and they got access to stream stuff live, or those quote unquote investigators who are crazy that decide, okay, I'm about to go deep into the LBL. Really, the land between the lakes is nothing. It's just where they go to do sex magic rituals. It's the area outside of that where the real monsters are. People are going to go into those areas and have the ability to stream live and to set up cameras and actually stream live. You about to see some stuff come out that's wild. I mean, wild evidence. How do I know this? Because I know where the areas are. And I know the reason why you couldn't get to those areas, because they're in hollows deep in the damn middle of nowhere. Or they're on ridges in the middle of freaking nowhere. Ain't no cell signals out there in those areas. You get out there, you get caught up. You can't call nobody. You can't get no help. You understand what I'm saying? So we're hitting. Technology just made a leap that I don't think people truly understand the leap of technology. I don't think they understand it. For example, there's things that go on out in the sea that you don't get footage of because there's no cell phone connection out there in the dark in the sea, in the ocean. There's islands that weird and strange things go on that you don't get no footage from the island. There's tribes where weird, crazy things go on, but there's no access to the tribe because there's no internet connection for that tribe. What I'm trying to tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now, it's about to go down. It's about to go down. Tucker Carlson was talking about
second fact
the leakage of weapons from the Ukraine military, meaning we send them weapons and then those weapons go missing in the night in the dark, which is common sense. I mean, if you listen to any military channel on YouTube, you hear the guys talking about how, man, they went to take out terrorists and they had American weapons. I mean, all this stuff is
second fact, not guess. Fact is Ukrainian military is selling a huge percentage, up to half of the arms that we send them. Half. And I'm not guessing about this. I know that for a fact, okay? Not speculation. And they're selling it, and a lot of it's winding up with the drug cartels on our border. So this is a crime, what's happening. Our intel agencies are fully aware of this. You tell me they're not profiting from this. Of course, you think the CIA is not profiting from this? Yes, they are. I can't prove that, but I believe that. What they don't know this. I know this, but they don't know this. They know this. And no one is saying it. Like, no American seems aware of this. We're sending these arms to Ukraine, hundreds of billions of dollars, And it's being stolen and sold to our actual enemies. Like, what the? I'm trying not to swear. What is this?
Yeah, well, the reason why is because you have Zelensky, it was about 3 weeks ago, I think, was specifically asked this question. So he went at some length in one of his interviews to say, oh, no, absolutely not. There's no truth to that at all. We've implemented all these things. I know that, but the media just reported what he said.
You know, the New York Times could get on the web and order Ukrainian weapons. That's a fact. I'm not guessing. It's a fact. They could do that today. Like,
mm-hmm. And those weapons are our weapons. All right, guys.
Second fact, not guess. Fact is Ukrainian military is selling a huge percentage, up to half.
All right, guys, that's it for me today. I got some other things I need to tend to, and I'll be back early tomorrow morning with some more for you. I love you. I appreciate you. If you want to show me support, head on over to iamdarkwaters.com. iamdarkwaters.com. Sign up. I'm going to start uploading exclusive content there. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say some things on this next video that I can't say here and put it there today. So iamdarkwaters.com. iamdarkwaters.com. Matter of fact, let me show it to you. iamdarkwaters.com. Members only. It'll take you here. Log in. Become a member. Yeah. Now, I want to be clear with you. There's probably 1,700 hours of content here. Literally 1,700 hours of content here already. But this is the landing page, which needs to be updated because it takes you to our books. It takes you to Instagram, Facebook, blogs, the YouTube channel. But nonetheless, head on over there. Sign up. Become a member. In fact, I'm going to put out a code tomorrow. Give you a little discount to get up in there. All right, I'll see you guys in a little while. Deuce.